Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mill Creek Government Channel. I'm Jessica James. The mission of the Erie County Health Department is to preserve, promote, and protect the health, safety, and well-being of the people and the environment of Erie County. Not only do these folks act as the guardian and as an advocate in all matters relating to the public's health, but they also promote healthy lifestyles, reduce preventable illnesses, and control the spread of communicable diseases, identify and eliminate health and safety hazards, as well as protect and promote the quality of the environment. Here to speak with us today from the Health Department on the importance of food safety and summer health safety tips is the Director of Environmental Health Services, Karen Tobin, and the Environmental Protection Specialist, Brianna Adams. Thank you so much for both being here today. I really appreciate it, and we're getting into summer, and so I know we need to talk, about not only food safety tips, ticks and Lyme disease, harmful algal blooms, and what we can do to be safer at our public beaches. But let's just dive right into it. And you're most well known for inspecting restaurants and food service stations around the county. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, thank you for having us. And we have about 1,600 restaurants, grocery stores, cafeterias in the county that we're responsible for inspecting and making sure that they're complying with safe food practices. Mm-hmm. We also in the summer are really busy with all the fairs and festivals. We issue over 600 licenses just in the summer to food vendors at all of those events.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. That's crazy. I did not realize that you also licensed the food vendors as well. And then, Brianna, you actually go into each establishment and do the inspections yourself. Can you tell me, what are some of the things on your checklist that you look for?
Sure. When we go into a restaurant, we are looking for safe and proper food handling, for hand washing, for glove use, making sure that the refrigeration is cold enough and the hot foods are kept hot enough. Mm-hmm. We're looking for cleanliness, for any evidence of rodents or insects in a place, and just things, making sure that everything is smooth and able to be cleaned in that facility also.
Now, are these scheduled visits or do you just show up unannounced?
Most of the inspections are unannounced, so they don't know we're coming.
Right.
But once in a while, we may have an appointment with someone, or they ask to meet with us and get some more educational materials from us. So sometimes they know, but most of the time they don't.
They don't know. And then is there maybe a varying scale of, they're in violation, but one violation is not as bad as another? Can you talk about what that might look like?
We do have different categories of violations. There are risk factor violations, which might immediately have an effect on someone's health, and also good retail practice violations, things like wearing a hairnet or making sure your light bulbs are shielded, that still need to be done in a food establishment. If it's a risk factor violation, we will go back for a follow-up visit, and we also work with educating them on the violations and how to correct them.
Sure. And when you have to go back for a follow-up, how soon after is it after that initial violation that you might go back and inspect again?
Depends on what the violation is. If it's a risk factor violation that's serious and it could affect public health, then we go back immediately, usually within a day or a couple days, to make sure that problem's corrected, or we make them fix it right on the spot.
Okay.
But if it's a good retail practice violations that's not as significant, then we might give them a week or two to correct the violation.
Sure. Okay. And if somebody is in violation, how can the public find out or know about this?
All of our inspection reports are available on our website at www.ecdh.org. You can read the whole entire inspection report at those places with violations and notes, and everything is there.
And I think I've seen them posted on Go Erie as well. Are they posted to the Go Erie website when?
Yes, every Friday they post them.
Okay, great, wonderful. And then, so just talking about summer food safety, I know that people are having a lot of picnics and throwing, a lot of outdoor parties. What are some of our, the best practices that we can use to make sure that, if you are throwing an outdoor get-together, that you're, handling and preparing your food in a safe way for your guests?
Sure. As people have picnics or they go camping, they have large volumes of guests, and they're not used to handling so much food. And the biggest problem that we see is they're not keeping foods at safe temperature. So there are some really great items out there that you can get to help keep food at safe temperatures. you want to keep cold foods cold, below 140 degrees. So any kind of dairy products or meats, cut fruit, all your side dishes and your salads, put it in an item like this. This is a inflatable salad bar. You just blow it up and you fill it with ice and you put all those cold foods in there. That way the foods can sit out for longer periods of time. If you don't have something like this and you don't have ice out, then you can't keep that food out longer than an hour.
That's a good time reference for our viewers to know. But I wish I would have thought of this. This is a really good idea. And you said that you have this at all of your get-togethers, and now all your friends want to buy them too.
Yes, and you can get them locally at a couple places like Christmas Tree Store or the Party City. So
Sure,
it's easy and
sure.
accessible.
That's wonderful.
One of the other big things for outdoor cooking is really hot foods. So you want to make sure that you cook foods to a safe temperature so that bacteria isn't growing in the food that could make you sick.
Right.
So for your hamburgers or your ground beef, you want to make sure it's 155 degrees. For chicken, 165 degrees. And if you have a steak, which is like a solid piece of meat, as long as the outside gets to 145 degrees,
Okay.
then it would be safe.
And tell me, if you're not doing these safe practices, what might happen to your guests? They're going to get sick, I'm sure.
Right, there's a range of foodborne illnesses that can happen from any kind of food that we don't always even think about. The potato salad, the pasta salad, those are definitely things that can make you ill. If your meat's not cooked thoroughly, you could end up sick and missing out on the next fun event or even in the hospital.
Sure. And those are, like you said, the foods that should be refrigerated or, heated thoroughly. And then I've just actually been seeing them out too. And I always think of things like chips or pretzels, they sit out all day long, which is fine. But I like those new table tents they started coming up with. So, the bugs don't land on them. And,
Sure, because insects can spread bacteria and contaminate food also.
Exactly. That's another good little thing to purchase. So do you have any other tips for maybe camping or when you're out traveling, something that would be, as far as, having coolers, how often they should get fresh ice?
Sure. Well, one of the biggest problems is people don't put enough ice in their cooler, and then they're in and out of the coolers all day long on a hot day and the ice melts. So they should put drinks in a separate cooler so that if you're in and out of that cooler frequently and it warms up, it's not a problem. Put your other foods, like your meats, in a separate cooler, packed in ice, and only go into that cooler when it's time for a meal.
Sure, that's a great tip. I really like that because I do go camping a lot, and I never thought about that. You just try and fit everything in one cooler and stick it in the back of the truck, and then, you're not keeping the food as cold as it should be when you're trying to go for the drinks instead. So, and then just moving on, I know we talked a little bit about, bugs just landing on our potato chips or pretzels, but tell me about the mosquito problem or, how to prevent certain diseases that mosquitoes spread.
Sure. The most common virus that we worry about around here is West Nile virus. It's a virus that can be spread from the bite of a mosquito to us. And really what they need is good breeding conditions. So they need standing water and warm temperatures. So if you can eliminate standing water on your property, that's really the best thing. If you have areas where you have a bird bath, change the water frequently. If you had old tires or buckets in your yard that catch the water, dump it out regularly so that you don't have breeding conditions for them. Sometimes they'll grow in people's gutters that back up and hold water in those. If you do have a problem with mosquitoes in your yard or you've got an area, a little pond area, something like that, you can use products that you can buy at a local store. For example, we call these mosquito dunks. And they're small little circles. They have a natural bacteria in them, so it's not a chemical that breaks the life cycle of a mosquito, so it can't form into an adult.
Oh, okay.
It will not harm other animals or birds or pets. So you can drop these into a water bath, bird bath, or you can drop it into a little pond, and it'll keep the mosquitoes from breeding. So these are a great item to buy locally.
Sure, that's wonderful. You have so many, good items. I'm going to have to go shopping after this show.
Sure.
And what areas of the county have historically had problems?
We have two areas in particular. We have a section of Mill Creek Township between Peninsula Drive and Powell Avenue, between 26th Street and 21st Street. Right around there, there's a lot of standing water in the wooded areas.
Okay.
So what we do is at the very beginning of the season, we go in and we put products like this into the standing water to kill any of the larvae.
Okay.
So we work in that neighborhood. So we really want people there who live near there to really work hard at getting rid of standing water. We have another area in Harbor Creek Township along the Giant Eagle area of Buffalo Road. Again, a lot of standing water in that area, so the neighbors should also be cautious in that area.
Sure, sure. And what, I know the Zika virus has been in the news a lot lately, but as far as West Nile goes, what might be the symptoms, of somebody who would, contract this disease?
Most people who get bit by the mosquito that carries the virus have no symptoms at all.
Oh,
so you
that's
won't even know
scary.
it. Some of them may have very mild symptoms, a mild headache or a mild fever. So you really won't even know that you've had it. So it doesn't affect most people, but people who have a weakened immune system, young children, the elderly, they may get more severe headaches, more severe fever, and then it can lead to other illnesses.
Okay, and is there any way to treat the West Nile virus once somebody's got
There's
it in their
no
body?
vaccine for it, so it's really just treat you like any other virus where it's lots of liquids and hope that your body can fight it off.
Okay. Oh, good to know. Well, that is good to know. And how are some other ways that besides using the dunks here that we can protect ourselves from mosquitoes?
Really, it's mosquito repellent. Make sure that you cover your clothes in repellent if you're going to be outside, especially at dawn and at dusk. That's when the kind of mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus are the most active. So wear repellent, wear long sleeves, wear long pants. If you're going to have a party on a deck, people always say there's so many mosquitoes in that area, put out a fan, like a rotating fan. That breeze will be enough to keep mosquitoes away. So I say line your deck with a bunch of fans along the outer edge, and that'll really help a lot.
I like that. So you get a cool breeze, but then you also keep the mosquitoes away.
That's right.
Perfect. And then moving, like we said, we talked about some places in Mill Creek that had standing water, but even going closer and further to Presque Isle, we do have harmful algal blooms on Lake Erie.
Yes, actually the worst problems were at the far western end of Lake Erie off of Ohio, like the Toledo area.
Right.
They had such harmful blooms, and what happens is when the blooms, the algae grow into high numbers, they can produce a toxin, and it's that toxin that we're worried about. So on the other end of the lake, it got so bad that Toledo's water supply was affected and they couldn't drink the water there.
Right. I do remember that.
So we don't want that to happen here, so we're monitoring for it.
Okay.
We work with the Regional Science Consortium over at the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, Presque Isle State Park officials. We work with the Department of Environmental Protection and have developed a strategy basically to every week we monitor areas throughout Presque Isle Bay and along the beaches to see if there is algae growing in our area. We've been working on developing some new brochures and some new signs that if we find a bloom in an area and we suspect it might be toxic, that we're going to put warning signs right on the edge of that water to keep people out because the toxins can affect your skin. They can be skin toxins, so if you touch the water or if you let your pet go into the water, it can have severe consequences.
Right.
In Ohio, they have had a couple dogs that have died from it. So if we see something that looks suspicious, usually it looks like a pea green kind of soup color. Sometimes it can take on a blue color though too. Stay out if you're not sure.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up about your pet because I think a lot of people right now the water is just still too cold to get into for myself, but I will let my dog go swimming. But so dogs can be affected by this.
Yeah, so they're small and they're lower to the water, so their whole body gets exposed to the toxin, and then they lick off their fur, so they're exposed even more, and then they're drinking the water.
Sure.
Now, not all the algae that are out there are bad, so I don't want everybody to panic because a lot of them are green and they're fine. But if you see something suspicious, call us and we can send out a biologist to take a look at it.
Okay, that's wonderful. And how would what's the phone number if someone wanted to get in contact with you? They thought they saw something. What's the number they would reach you at?
Sure. At the health department, our main number is 451-6700.
And you guys do a lot to promote, or not promote, but inform and educate about these harmful algal blooms, even with our International Coastal Cleanup event, because people are in the water, they're touching, getting litter out. And I think you guys, like you said, they take on that blue-green look, but it also looks a little bit like paint.
It can
in the
look
water?
like paint. Yeah,
Okay.
it can look like a green paint or a blue because it can be a film or a scum that floats on the top. So,
Okay.
yeah, anything that looks suspicious, just call us and let us know.
Sure. And what exactly is the cause of the algal bloom? How does this form?
Sure. The blue-green algae are commonly out in our environment, so they live in all of our waters. But the problem is when they get too much nutrients. So there's runoff from farms, agricultural fields, or runoff from animal manure, or runoff from our homes or our home gardens. If we put too much nutrients into the water, then that makes the algae thrive. Then when the conditions are warm, so they like shallow, warm, still water, with lots of nutrients, and then they grow exponentially and produce a toxin.
Sure, sure. And I think that's always a good case for, I do host a lot of compost workshops. So, when it comes to gardening, definitely use the natural compost to add, nutrients to your garden and to your soil rather than some of those chemical additives.
True, and don't put anything on your garden right before it's going to rain, because if it rains, then it's going to just wash that right off, and it'll go down the storm drains and into the waters that we're worried about.
Right. We keep coming back to this reoccurring theme of, your storm drains. I mean, whether it's litter or chemicals, it all gets washed downstream.
That's right, and then it all ends up in the bay or the lakes.
Right, right. Oh gosh. And then with the public beaches at Presque Isle State Park, tell us what are some of the things you guys do to test the waters, or I know you take samples back to your lab. Tell me about that.
Most people probably don't realize that we have a laboratory right at the health department. So the interns from Presque Isle State Park collect the water samples on the beaches every Sunday and every Monday. Then they bring the samples into our laboratory where we test them for E. coli. And then we have a protocol that we've developed with all the officials of Presque Isle and the Department of Environmental Protection that when the E. coli levels hit a certain point, we might put an advisory up, which is a yellow warning that just tells you that the levels are elevated, be cautious in that area. But if the levels go up even higher, then we have a red warning, which is a restriction, which means we don't allow people to go into the waters until the E. coli levels have dropped back down.
Sure, and how does that happen? How do we have, maybe larger volumes of E. coli levels happening along our beaches?
It could be human or animal. Sometimes it's from birds or geese, things like that. If we have a sewage treatment plant that malfunctions and pours sewage into the streams that wash down towards the beaches, if we have people who have septic systems that don't maintain them properly, that would have E. coli in it. So a lot of times it's from runoff from septic systems or sewage systems that actually flow down the streams, and then the currents carry it from west to east, along the shore, and then they kind of accumulate along the beaches that we have.
Okay, all right. And so I see that you test Presque Isle State Park, but also Freeport Beach and Edinburgh Lake beaches, is that right?
Yes, all those beaches are public beaches, so they have to submit sampling on a regular basis. Our laboratory only does the testing for Presque Isle State Park and for Freeport Beach. And then we determine with them, if the beach should be open or closed on a regular basis.
Okay. And what are the predictive models with buoys?
Well, we work with the Regional Science Consortium and with Gannon, and what they do is they have buoys that are located out in the lake and in the bay, and that takes readings of turbidity and wave height and temperature. And one of the doctors at Barrand has created this model where all of that information goes into this computerized system, and they predict each morning whether the beaches look like they would be safe to keep open or closed. And then the park managers at Presque Isle go out and do a visual look. And if the waves are really high and it's rained a lot and the water's really churned up, the model will probably say weather doesn't look so good and the beaches are probably going to be bad, and then it would be closed. So we use the weather buoy information for a lot of those models.
That's incredible. I mean, there's just so many things that you guys do to, not only handle what's, happening. I mean, the mosquitoes are here, we have to, fix the problem, but you guys do so many preventative things too.
Right, we definitely do. So ticks is one of the other
Sure,
programs.
sure, and I want to get back to ticks. We have some actual, I don't want to say pictures, they're like samples of ticks, but tell me why ticks and Lyme disease is such an important component of the Erie County Health Department.
Ticks are everywhere is basically what it comes down to. We have, there's deer ticks in every county in Pennsylvania. They're not siloed to one portion of the county. People are picking them up in their yards when they walk their dogs, and they can spread Lyme disease, which can have an effect on your body for a long time. So we want people to be aware of that risk, and we're doing our best to educate them and help them if they are bit by a tick.
And what do these ticks look like? I mean, they're very small, aren't they?
They are very small. The deer tick, the female deer tick, has a red body, about the size of a sesame seed, a black shield on the top, and then a mouth part and 8 legs. So they're more like a spider.
Oh, they are nasty little bugs.
They are.
They are.
And do they look different once they've embedded themselves into a human or a dog or an animal?
Yes, if they're able to stay attached long enough to become engorged and have a full blood meal, then they can grow to the size of like a small raisin or a sunflower seed. And at that point, they can also transmit the bacteria that causes Lyme disease.
Sure. And what are if a human or a dog were to get Lyme disease, what are some of the symptoms, or how would that affect your body?
Several cases will present with a bullseye rash, either in the spot that they were bit or anywhere else on their body. They can also have fever, achy joints, fatigue, kind of flu-like symptoms if they are bit.
And does it last a long time? I mean, it probably takes a while to get out of your system.
The symptoms would present in about 7 to 10 days,
Okay.
but depending on how soon you're able to get treated, there is antibiotics available that will treat Lyme disease and cure it.
Okay. And what's the best way to prevent a tick bite?
By knowing where they're at, which they're in the leaf litter, the tall grasses, they always climb up. So they'll start on your shoes or your socks.
Can they jump, or do they just climb?
They just climb.
They just climb. So it's important to wear socks and, high socks and boots and jeans when you're hiking versus shorts and things like that, right?
Right. That would definitely help to protect you better. Wearing those appropriate clothing, light-colored clothing, like khakis, would help to see a tick better. And also using repellent such as DEET for your skin, or a product with permethrin for your clothing will last for the whole summer season.
Sure. And what can, that's what we can do to prevent, and is there anything we can do to prevent it from, jumping, or not jumping, but, crawling onto our dogs or pets?
There are several treatments for pets. There is a vaccine for both dogs and cats, but there's also topical creams like Advantage or collars that will prevent ticks and fleas from jumping on.
Sure, and I know that's what we use, but sometimes those don't even work all the time. We use it on our dogs, and we take them out walking, and we still find a tick. And the first time I ever saw one, like you said, it had already had its blood meal, so it had a full body, and it was gray or grayish in color. I mean, I just didn't even know what this thing was. I took her right to the vet. I'm like, get it off.
Sure. The most important thing is to get it off of you before it has time to actually feed on you. So when you get in the house afterwards, check your pet, comb them or brush them. For yourself, I say take your clothes off, throw it in the washer or the dryer. If you've been hiking outside, don't bring the ticks into the home. Or take a shower right away is what they suggest, so that if it has been crawling on you, that you can wash it off before it can attach.
Sure. And can you tell me, what is the Northwest PA Tick Task Force? That's a mouthful.
It is.
It is a mouthful. It's a group of different agencies and universities in the area, including ourselves and the Regional Science Consortium, DCNR and Presque Isle, and Mercyhurst, Barron, LECOM. And so we're working on getting educational information out to the public, to the doctors, to the hikers, to the campers, and everyone, just so that they know that the risk is here and it's here to stay.
Sure. And tell me a little bit about the public assessment survey.
Pennsylvania Department of Health has developed a short survey just to find out what people know about ticks. There's questions on here like, is this a tick or is this a tick? How are you protecting yourself? Have you had Lyme disease or a tick-borne illness in the past, and what do you know about them? The hope is that after getting several of these surveys back, they will be able to develop more educational materials and also target the education to the people who need it.
Sure. And I see you have a nice big sign there. Do you want to hold it up for our viewers? It says, prevent Lyme disease, wear repellent, check for ticks daily, shower soon after being outdoors, and call your doctor if you get a fever or rash or that little bullseye spot, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so we have recently applied for funds. We're hoping to be able to put these up at parks around the county. If anyone is interested in a sign, you can order them from CDC or call us and we can let you know.
And they're free.
Get them.
They're
And
free.
Yeah, there's no charge for that.
Wonderful.
Right, but
And I do see the website at the bottom, www.cdc.gov/Lyme. So this is a very serious concern, and we need to do everything we can to prevent it, and if you do have it, to treat it as soon as possible.
That's right.
Okay, and you guys have some other programs going on, or things that you monitor throughout the summer, like the public swimming pools, campgrounds, public schools. Can you touch on just a few of them? I know we don't have much time, but
Sure.
a little bit.
summer is a very busy time at the health department. All of our programs are really getting busier during the summer. We inspect all public pools and all campgrounds, making sure that drinking water is safe, that they dispose of their sewage properly. In the swimming pool, we make sure that the chemistry is right, so it's safe for them to be swimming, that they've done their electrical inspection so nobody gets injured or shocked in the pool. So a lot of busy time in the summer.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we are just about out of time, and I really, really appreciate you guys both coming on. I know that there are so many things that you guys touched on that our viewers should be doing: getting a fan on their deck, putting their food on ice to keep it cool and safe for their guests, and then doing some things to prevent ticks from crawling on you and preventing Lyme disease. But I really, really appreciate it, and I know we're going to show you some great images of what these ticks look like, so our viewers can spot them and identify them, because they do look a little bit like a spider. So like I said, when I first saw it, I was very confused. I didn't know what it was. But viewers, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions, be sure to go to the Erie County Health Department website. They do have a Facebook page, or give them a call. Until next time, have a great day.
You're watching the Mill Creek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.